This is Nightly Business Report with Tyler Matheson and Herrera.
Record found an all-but ticket act. Nothing happened years ago. New rule, the internet called the unregulated Wild West, and today a handful of senators made the first major move. Rain is like Google, Twitter. Behind are one of the four liable automobiles. These and more on Nightly Business Report for Thursday, October 19th. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Tyler Matheson Herrera this evening. Now did today at yet a high. Do a racely slide and its letting run. Now, just yesterday, the index finished above 23,000 for the first time ever. Apple was the daily sag on report weak for its new own 8. Jackson Bow helped much, but a rally in part Bison, that in a moment, helped the blue chip index eke out a gain. The Dow rose 5 points to an all-time high of 23,063. The NASDAQ 19 S&P a fraction. Today move thing like occurred years ago. October 1987, Black Monday. One of the worst one-day sponge in history. That day, the Dow 500 points up 3 to price in T8. Selling with mental, nerve-wracking, and Nightly Business Report's Paul Kangas was there to give viewers a rundown of the market damage done.
Prices of exchange can plunge early the next Friday's loss of 8 1/3 Dow Industrial down to the 46 level. The opening sell-off was massive as the Dow plummeted 201 points by 11 a.m. with 1,600 stocks down and a mere mostly post issues higher was running over an cause of this whole nation. Our guest Jim Victor of the Investor, who was at the bull market visit with June 5th, told me one of the major factors, if not the major factor, was forced mutual fund redemptions. At the downside exerted by some portfolio and few selling, real average 70-point loss. These stocks 1,500. Even a hint of any meaningful technical rebound, stocks continued to plunge on record volume throughout the afternoon, with the Dow off 296 points, 19:53 p.m. An hour saw drop out, margin call fund liquid combined was one innovative strategy, while the Dow down to a record loss of 508.32, putting it at 1,738.74, which is also by far a record percentage loss of 20%.
Was Paul. 23% today, with Dow by thousands, much as the Dow in the last 18 months, which has been one of the great market rallies of all time. But why did stocks drop so hard on a 30? Takes a look.
It will be in history.
Well, in 30 years, it happened. The president appointed a commission, the Brady Commission, to investigate the causes of the crash. Well, there were several fun causes of stock market into MCA's portfolios, focused on the trends to flow. Seller to handle it were delayed, didn't answer. The lack of information created more selling. Two things came out of the crash. First, system-wide market breaker instituted in '89, expanded to a stock breaker. Reports exited the board electing. Very deep the market changes its capacity to handle more volume, and electronic trading really cut down the time to trade. Could it happen again? Most of the markets could hop. Likely the same reason inability to handle the bottom draws of a lot of our will drop. Nightly Business Report. I'm Bob Pisani at the New York Stock Exchange.
Let's turn to our friend Michael Farr for more on Black Monday, the similarity to today's market and the we have from that. Great to see all you on that. Remember about it.
I was at my desk. It was a lot darker then. I was sitting at my desk at Wheat First Securities. I was a new stockbroker, and it was overwhelming. What I was the coming in and the asking going on. You didn't have any. The other happened days when you're handwritten tickets and you'd send them down by wire to the floor of the stock exchange. We weren't getting confirmations back, so we didn't have information to the clients. It was and the clip with he was a great, so really special.
He sure, cited in East the attribute computerized trading as one of the reasons that the market got a little sideways that day, to put it. Then all is more computerized trading. Is a good potential another day like October 97?
I think that's a great question, and I'm not sure we know the answer. We saw, Tyler, a couple of years ago, the flash crash down 1,000 minutes, where all of this was a fat thing on a computer board or not. Well, but with high-frequency trading, I know if you talk to our friends on the floor and Kenny Polcari and others, they'll tell you that continues to be a concern, but screws are in place to control trading.
A lot of people asking the question, could it again? And when I'm asked question, Michael, yeah, probably could happen again, but it won't happen the same way. It won't happen for the same reasons.
And I think that's exactly right. You get bit of craze. Grams reel on to be some seen. We did a lot of the past safeguards. It's going to be what we haven't seen yet. So yeah, it could happen. What we have to also remember, though, Tyler, is that markets are all ties and making all ties. I remember a low rule and you cautious.
Market time during 97, if my is correct, had been up something like 40% over the preceding year, and then the slide began in August, endowed that day. You see those circs aiding in the market.
Certainly, it would be one of those things perhaps we haven't seen before. There are a lot of differences, though, and one of the differences, I think, is that the bond market really struck in. And when the bond started to continue catching, the bond has been smarter stock market, and it was a capitulation of the stock market. But bond market's been holding in great. Interest rates are still very low.
Right.
There's a lot of money. You know, the tight just have to watch closely.
Soon again to see you.
Thanks, Tom.
Miller. And as promised, Verizon, it unexpectedly brought back unlimited wireless plans earlier this year, and the move be paying off. The company's strong quarter, better than revenue and earnings were in estimates. Cent share component in tradings we noted. Julia Borston has more on Verizon's strategy.
Verizon is doing something not all of its competitors can. It's gaining subscribers. 600,000 in the quarter, almost half most subscribers after the unlist plan time 11.
It's about Verizon are rated for the quarter. Don't count these guys out, despite T-Mobile ads and what Sprint might be telling you. Very solid numbers across the board, especially on wireless. They're bread.
But it's Fios lost 10,000 subscribers in the quarter, more than the quarters. Blaming industry-wide from traditional video over the top video offerings. It's an increasingly crowded space with options from UTV to streaming to rival AT&T's Direct Now. Rival AT&T focusing on to different mobile services. The acquisition of Time Warner pending. There's growing focus on what Verizon might do next. Contents after Noel McGath company would content by the
There's a spink that tune to play that makes us to play in those, but we don't want to launch just a Me Too type product. So we're continuing to look at what makes sense for us to launch something that's different in that space. Probably a live program.
Verizon focused on Oath Unit combination of Who and A, which just announced more than $1 billion operating synergies through 2020. We'll see if there are any other acquisitions in the works. For Night Report, I'm Justin in Lewis.
Well, for component quarter in a extremely brutal season, an unusual period, to put it mildly. But as Morgan Brennan reports, it wasn't all bad.
In a quarter dominated by fees, there's still news to a beat. The insurance reported adjustments that were double what analysts predicting. As a hurricanes racked up millions in pre-tax catastrophe losses. Those company losses due largely to Hurricane Harvey, Irma, 10 times than a year ago, and travel from order. Deadly wild northern call with its traveler Alan Schmidt. It will net renewal prices and policies the company offers.
Big events impact pricing when a material amount of industry surplus or when they change the market risk. It's not the argument experienced.
That helps lift the Dow today, making hopes for pricing fuel stronger future results for the industry overall. Still, some analysts remain skeptical.
When there comes like we had quarter, expectation investors see better price. Initially, I think that they'll see some of their selects, but we'll see what happens. I think that these storms were significant losses, but probably not enough to turn industry pricing, and that's one of the reasons why broadly we're new to the property casualty.
Track said the quarter's largest of drone. Entire industry up adoption new techie. 1,000 inspections were done with drones, and travelers expect to have 650 of them in use by next year. For Night Report, I'm Brennan.
More reported the quarters is missing for more this quarter because of the California wildfires. Today, the insurance commissioner said its preliminary estimate for losses now exceeds $1 billion, but that number expected. Still ahead, senators delay country's internet. Americans collect employment fell week to a 4-year, and Richard's president. Jobless claim 22 to 222. Unemployment claims a proxy for layoffs, and those numbers suggest that employers are confident enough in the economy to hold on to workers. The all unemployed right now, 2%, 16 low. President Trump met with Janet Yellen. He considers take over the currently holds at the central bank. Yellen was the 5th person to get a formal sit-down with the president to talk about the position. Yellen's term expired in other job or chief economist, Fed Governor Jerome Powell, for University economist John Taylor. Also in Washington, online media companies are facing the threat of new political ads. It's the first attempt to face Twitter to make that with the laws that govern ads on TV, radio, and in print. Kayla Tausche has the details.
The U.S. intelligence found Russian agents' social forms, Facebook, Twitter, and attached the two-team price. Senator Murr says the $1,000 worth of Facebook ads traced to Russia is just the beginning.
I still believe that still may be just the iceberg. And the number of ads that for not been through what, some accounts made enough to actually dollars or pounds to pay for ads. So there may be more.
With some 210 million users in the U.S., Facebook is nearly times subscribers of the cable company at 20 million. The proposed apply to cite million users, requiring them to public for all political ads purchased by campaigns spending more than $500. Lawmakers want the same disclosure for online firms as exists for traditional.
Really on with where Caston were today.
Industry says it will continue to work toward a legislative solution. Social media executives have met with lawmakers in recent weeks. Congress negates election interference because hiring to issue rules to these profits.
They've made a base that they've been this sort of unregulated Wild West.
The legislation has the support of Republican Senator John McCain, who chairs the Senate Armed Services. He views interfere national issue. Some GOP law chafe at regulation they say impinge free speech. For Nightly Bird, I'm Kayla Tausche, Washington.
Gilead wins approval for its cancer treatment, and that is where we begin tonight's Market Focus. The FDA of Gilead's potential revolutionary type of lymphoma treatment, patients' own cells, the disease only been approved before. To the list price, just under $400,000 for a one-time dose. Gilead shares rose 2% one time. Morris disappointing and giant 10th straight of volume decline expected to continue. The company slashed its earnings forecast for the full year. Philip Morris expanding its to potential alternative tobacco nearly to 115. Ace platform MongoDB day on the Nasdaq, 8 million shares at $34 apiece. That gives the company a valuation of more than $1 billion. But the company says it is still well positioned for more.
Obviously, very how invested to the store, even if it's about the future. We're after one of the markets in software. The thing is, we have a technology mentioned. And third, the momentum of the business is really strong. We've got customers across every industry who are using us for almost every use case. So this is just yet to come.
Rising dollars and cents. The Bell reported sales that rose more than expected as more users made payments on the company's Venmo platform. PayPal raised its guidance higher hours into the regular though at 7:20. Shares of sale were extended after the pharmaceutical firm said it won't continue a study trial for its Crohn's disease treatment. The company said it made the decision after an independent monitor the treatment did not play out the risk. Shares initially after the end the regular nearly 135.96. General Motors has agreed to pay $120 million to resolve claims from 49 of Columbia witches. Defect has 24 and 205 injured at a mass call, as you mentioned, early 20. The largest U.S.-based automaker has already paid about $2.5 billion in penalties and settlements over effective switches cause install and prevent from blowing. Well, here's something may not come surprise for who have bought a car or recently. Latest technology being rolled into these models is prone to glitches and bugs. That's the conclusion of a new survey by Consumer Reports. The and least liable ends. LeBeau more.
New cars with the bells and may look showroom. Out on the road, they're hitting the wrong note with many owners. Consumer Reports more than 100,000. Many are by glitch vehicles as well trans being the latest.
It stands what's going in today's vehicles. And it's really the new technology that's being added to the new vehicles has really been the problem.
This year, Consumer Report Toyota most reliant, Lexus, Kia, which top 3 time. By comparison, Ram, MC, Cadillac ranked as worst in reliability. Also near the bottom of Consumer Reports list, Tesla, which is just a new lower price car. Model 3 Consumer is yet a model, but will have reliability.
Look here, we're not super high mark, saying it basically par for the course. It's not below average, not really going to be above average, but it's going to be average.
Blasted surge in consumers' automobile instant leading consumers. Tesla says report not driven Model 3, so it shouldn't be predicting its reliability. For its part, Consumer Reports says it knows Tesla to predict Model 3 will over time. As delivery increase, a buyer will eventually determine consumer prediction accurate. Phil LeBeau, Nightly Business Report, Chicago.
Automakers are making strides in passenger safety. New crash tests from Institute Safety. 10 of the mid-size tests graded good protectors good as the American automobile received. Those not a grade of good, well, the Volkswagen Jetta, it was rated acceptable. The Passat from Volkswagen and the Chevy Malibu were rated as mark protection. It's the second grade by two. Coming up, having money dream home as well. you can 500 more 401. The government assesses the annually and a level to 8,005 to keep up in cost of how much you can contribute to your IRA or Roth IRA will remain unchanged at $5,500 next year. And processing a home, there is a more and more and can cost hundreds of thousands of, maybe even millions, and not only steal but your home. Diana Olick reports.
Brett Falavalita thought everything was according to he was a bose on Hillian Calhoun home.
This is a house layout, the upset I was for, and it was like, this is the house.
But it almost wasn't. 2 days before the closing, there was a change. At least he was.
The Monday to the funds he sent, I got, for the agent. I thought that knitted wirings would be forthcoming. And I didn't think anything about it.
The email was a scam, and it nearly cost him his $1,000 deposit. Thankfully, his escrow just to change my delay. The officer, that caught that just in.
I did not know that the email was a scam. I was more frustrated with having to send them a bank. My credit likely wouldn't make our. So it was frightening, experienced, very to losing.
Now that some of the mortgage and closing process is online, hackers are tapping in force. They call it phishing, posing or regent to down payment. One buyer lost millions in a similar.
Is a market with large amount of fund moving hands. So it's one of the best places if you want to get a hold of a $100,000 wire. Reason, fortunately, targets these scams consumers today have a very low awareness of these types of attacks.
The FBI, FTC, and National Association stores have warnings. Verify with your either on or in suspicious of changes. Your email uses payment and anything seems even slightly off. Check it out.
My real estate agent ended this smiley thing. We had a change at point, and that's
in the different smile and a disaster. Business Report. I'm Diana Olick in Washington.
And that is Nightly Business Report for tonight. I'm Tyler Mathisen. Thanks for watching. We'll